What's up everyone, I'm Matty Amendola. Today we're at the studio at 825 Records in Brooklyn, New York to talk about Kerchief's single Milk and Honey for this exclusive behind the release from SonicScoop.com.
Nights like tonight, my only proof that I'm doing anything right. Oh, nights like tonight, my only proof that I'm doing anything.
From the demo process, I knew how the guitars and the vocals sounded, so the first thing to do was lay some drums down. And this was the basis of the drum kit. 2 room mics spread out in the room, and 2 Coles 4038s in a Glenn Johns type position. That's what this sounded like. So the Coles were really giving us that nice vintage, warm, small kind of drum sound. And then I used the room mics, which are 2 Earthworks SR40s on each side of the room to give it depth. And I can see on the waveform right here that we squashed these with distressors going in. And looks like on the bus we have a CLA 76, also squashing the hell out of it. We have a little bit of EQ, which looks kind of wacky but seemed to work. And then on our bus we have a little bit of reverb. So this is what those room mics sounded like by themselves. So let's add those Coles in there now. On the kick and the verses, I'm triggering a sample that I created several years ago and a bunch of albums ago from Fleet Walker's Morning Void record. I used this big kick sound on a song called In a Dungeon at the Bottom of the Sea. And it's big and it's explosive, and there's a lot of samples out there like it that you can grab. So one very cool thing I did with the snares, which are grouped, and we're going to get to that right now. I have my top snare, just a little bit of EQ. Once again, I am sending it out to Slate Trigger just for some white noise. Just some white noise, some bit rips and just noise on the snare. That's what I'm triggering, just slightly. A little bit of Fab Filter compression, just smacking pretty hard. So that was the snare going in through the SSL chain, and then from there I wanted to just give it a little bit of depth, so we created a gated verb. Okay. Now that mixed in. So the gated verb kind of gave it this dimension, and Butch had suggested it. And it's almost like a really fast backwards snare underneath the real snare hit. All the drums are being summed out to a UAD Studer, which is one of my favorite tape emulation plugins. Here's what's going on there. Just driving the input a little bit, crunching it down, and we are at 7.5 IPS, which is giving us that crunch, and it's also taming those transients to give it that vintage, wide, warm feel. From there on the drum bus, I'm using one of my favorite in-the-box compressors, which is the Kramer Pi. The whole kit was really something special, and that's what this sounded like. We had enough hi-hat coming in on the overheads and on the rest of the drum mics, but I recorded this hi-hat track and I used it in an interesting way. We're going to open up flex time, where I have slicing mode on. Now, as you can see, we're not actually doing anything with this slice. Now, why am I doing this?